Hello friends, welcome to Total Recap. Today we are going to explain a movie named YJHD, released in 2013. So sit with some popcorns, relax and enjoy this romance drama movie. The movie begins with a wedding invitation, where one invitation reaches San Francisco, and another wedding invitation goes to Nina. Nina, upon seeing this invitation, gets lost in her memories, which are 8 years back, when she was a medical student. Once, Nina goes shopping with her mother, and she encounters her school friend Aditi there. Speaking of Aditi, she is an extroverted girl with absolutely no interest in studies. When Aditi meets Nina at the mall's cash counter, she tells her that she is going on a trip to Manali with her friends. They exchange a few words, and then Aditi leaves, but she forgets her packing checklist at the cash counter. Upon seeing this, Nina also feels like joining this trip, but she hardly had any time for studies, and that's why she was fed up with her busy life. So, without informing her family, she books a train ticket to Manali. That's when we are introduced to the movie's main character, Kabir, but his friends call him Bunny. Bunny is a photographer and he wants to travel the whole world. On the night before Manali trip, he comes home where his father and stepmother were waiting. Although Bunny's parents here were telling her to cancel the Manali trip because Bunny's plan included trekking on a mountain that was 16,000 feet above sea level. But in the end, Bunny's father gives him permission to go to Manali and also gifts him a bag. Along with this, we see the names and photos of Bunny's dream destinations in his room. After that, we are shown a scene at the railway station where Bunny and Aditi are joined by another friend, Avinash. But on the other side, Nina's mother receives a letter from Nina written with T. In it, Nina had apologized to her mother because she was going on the Manali trip without telling her. But when she reaches the railway station, Bunny is quite surprised to see her. After some time, when the train starts, in the last moment, Nina starts thinking that she has never been on a trip alone before. After which, Bunny tells her, "Nina, trust me, this trip will be a lot of fun, and it will be our memorable trip." The journey of these people begins from here, and at night, Avinash, Bunny, Aditi, and Nina are joined by a girl named Lara. Then, when they reach Manali the next morning, the first thing they do is visit the famous temple there. When Bunny sees a minor bride getting married, he says to Nina, "Marriage is a very boring thing, like a man eating pizza every day for 50 years long." In reality, Bunny's philosophy was that in life, there should occasionally be chicken curry, hamburgers, and Hakka noodles, meaning that a man should not spend his entire life with just one girl but should have several girlfriends. After exploring on the first day of their trip, at night, a local girl accuses Avinash of misbehavior. However, in Avinash's defense, Aditi confronts the local girl and her boyfriend. But the local boy pushes Aditi and slaps Avinash. However, when Bunny arrives, not only does he punch the local boy, but he also asks him to apologize to Avinash. But then Nina sees that the local boy seeks help from many of his friends, which forces all four of them to quickly flee from there. These four, while running, split into two groups. Nina was with Bunny, and Aditi was with Avinash. However, due to Bunny's misfortune, a muscular guy caught hold of him. But just in time, Nina came to his rescue. After that, all four sat down at a stall and began to flee from there. But they were still being pursued by all the locals. Then, Nina blocked the road by dropping a bamboos to the side. The next day, their tracking began, and here, all four joined a larger group, and their guide here divided this big group into two teams. One team was captained by Bunny, and the other by Avinash. And whoever reached the campsite first would relax and the losing team would have to set up tents and cook for the winning team. But on this trail, Bunny was busy flirting with Lara, and Nina was getting very close to the campsite. That's when Bunny went to her and manipulated Nina, making her feel indebted, and as a result, Bunny's team emerged victorious. Upon arriving at the campsite, a group of Germans invites everyone to their party. However, Nina doesn't attend as she was still studying. Nonetheless, Bunny stumbles upon Nina's notes scattered at the campsite and forcefully urges her to join the party while boosting her confidence. Later, even after attending the party, Bunny makes Nina feel relaxed. Afterward, when they reach the highest point of their trek, they see another mountain, and Bunny asks their guide about it. The guide tells them that it's called the Buddha Mountain, which means haunted, and the elders say there used to be a temple of Bhairav there where wishes made during full moon nights came true. So, many people have tried going there, but none of them have returned. Hearing this, some people get scared, but Bunny and Nina are filled with curiosity. In the meantime, in the evening, Avinash starts flirting with Lara's friend, which makes Aditi quite jealous as she loves Avinash. As soon as night falls, Bunny sets out to climb Buddha Mountain, and on the way, he encounters Nina. As soon as they decided to halt halfway through this journey, both of them were tired and sat down at a place where Nina asked Bunny for a drink, surprising Bunny. It was here that Nina also learned about Bunny's dream of traveling the world. Seeing Bunny's caring nature on this trip, Nina fell in love with him. After that, they continued their journey, although they didn't find the Bhairav temple there. Still, Naina prayed there, asking to Bunny becomes her boyfriend. In the next scene, we see that everyone boards a bus to reach their next trip destination. India's famous festival, Holi, was being celebrated here, and their entire group joined in the celebration. Naina appeared the happiest during this festival because she had never experienced such craziness before. Here, these people danced wholeheartedly, but in the midst of it, Avinash went to a private space with Lara's friend. Later, when he came to collect money for the room rent, he realized that he didn't have any money in his wallet. He checked Bonnie's bag, only to find a letter that said the Northwestern University of Chicago had accepted Bonnie's application, and he was going to America in 3 weeks to join the journalism program. Upon hearing this, Avinash feels very upset because Bonnie applied for admission without informing him, even though they had a plan to apply together. Nevertheless, Avinash congratulates Bonnie and encourages him to pursue his dreams. At this point, Naina was planning to propose to Bonnie, but after seeing this letter, she couldn't bring herself to express her feelings. Naina was hurt by her decision not to propose Bonnie, but she was happy that she was back home on a trip with a big suitcase full of memories. Now, the scene shifts to the present day, which means that Bonnie has been living in the US for 8 years, and he is now a director of photography for a TV show. This job allows him to travel to new places regularly, and he is also earning a good amount of money. However, one day, the anchor of Bonnie's TV channel, Rihanna, tells Bonnie, "Our channel wants to launch a new show for the European market, similar to a reality show. In this show, our host will stay in some famous cities of the world for 3 months and record their experiences. People want Bonnie to host this show." At first, Bonnie thinks it's a joke, but after Rihanna convinces her several times, Bonnie finally agrees. Now he was quite excited for his new job, but then he receives a video message from Aditi, where she tells him about her wedding and asks him to come to India for just 5 days. Meanwhile, preparations for Aditi's wedding had already begun in India. Here, Avinash also comes to Aditi's wedding, which means Aditi couldn't confess her love to Avinash. Now she is getting married to a guy named Tarun, who is a very simple guy. But if we talk about Avinash's current situation, that's after Bunny left, he opened a bar, which led to him going bankrupt. And now his condition is such that he has to close the bar as well, which is why Avinash has started drinking heavily these days. However, Bunny makes an entry at Aditi's cocktail party, and then everyone dances together. Bunny hasn't changed at all in these 8 years, his way of living life remains the same. But in the meantime, Naina has changed a lot. After this, he goes to meet Avinash, who was very upset about his bar closing down because he didn't have enough money to keep it running, and he was also deep in debt. Anyway, when Aditi and Avinash both ask Bonnie how long he's in India for, Bonnie says he's leaving for Paris from India on the night of Aditi's wedding. He has an opportunity to host a show there. Upon hearing this, Aditi suggests that they should go for a night out tonight, but Avinash responds by saying that he's not going with Bonnie, and they are no longer the friends they used to be. This happened because after Bonnie went to the US, he became so busy that he didn't contact his old friends at all. Bonnie was very upset that his close friends had rejected him today. So, after this, Bonnie goes to Naina, and after talking with her for a while, Bonnie starts to feel better. Afterward, on the next day, some traditional ceremonies are performed before Aditi's wedding. In the meantime, Bonnie sees Avinash, who had started gambling a lot in the temptation of making more money, but he was only incurring losses. Well, during the wedding, there was a dance competition from both the groom's and bride's sides, and Naina was in charge of the dance for the bride's side. Because of this, she takes Bonnie with her to the room where Tarun was practicing dance. Right there, Bonnie sees that Lara is the girl who was teaching Tarun to dance. In the next scene, Bonnie is watching his TV show, but Avinash switches channels to watch India's cricket match. This makes Bonnie quite upset, and he politely asks Avinash to put his TV show back on. However, Avinash tells him, "Dude, this is your show. How many times will you watch it? And I'm not at all interested in this show." Hearing this, Bonnie turns off the television. Avinash gets very angry with Bonnie's behavior, and then he vents his frustration. He tells Bonnie, "In the past 8 years, you've come to meet us only once, and you must have made 20 calls only, and now you've forgotten us, Bonnie." In response, Bonnie says, "Avinash, understand my situation. I was shifting to a new city every few days. Adjusting there, working there, chasing my dreams, handling all of this was quite challenging for me." However, in response, Avinash says, "You've always focused on yourself, and our dream to open a bar together our end. Today, your career is settled, and I had to end mine before even starting it." In the end, Avinash says, "I stopped hoping for anything from you a few years ago and decided to end our friendship when you didn't come for your father's funeral." Here, as an audience, we learn that Bonnie's father is no longer in this world. But hearing this from Avinash's mouth makes Bonnie very angry, so they end up having a fight. Then, when they both fall to the ground fighting like dogs, the bride comes and calms them down and asks them to apologize to each other. Anyway, after that, the dance floor is ready, and the dance competition is started by the groom's side, and Lara's dance with Turan is so liked by the guests that everyone is appreciating them, which upsets Nina a lot. But then Bonnie tells her that he will support Nina to win the dance competition. After that, when Nina and Bonnie start dancing, their dance is liked so much by the guests that everyone starts dancing with them, which impresses Nina once again. Then, the next day, everyone is sleeping after drinking alcohol, and in the meantime, Bonnie goes to Nina and asks her to explore Udaipur city. Then these two spend the whole day visiting different places in city. In the evening, Bonnie tells Nina that the sunset is happening now and asks her to go back to the hotel. But Nina insists on staying there to watch the sunset and tells Bonnie, no matter how much we chase things in life, something or the other will always slip away. So why not enjoy what we have at this moment? Later, as they return to the hotel at night, Bonnie reveals to Nina that 3 years ago, he was working with a company called Track America and went on a track with 24 college students. He returned from the track after 8 days, and that's when his mobile phone started working again. He found out about his father's passing with Avinash, Aditi, and his family's messages, which he discovered 5 days later when their funeral had already taken place. Amidst all conversation, when Bunny and Nina return to the hotel, Bunny sees Avinash playing cards again. Avinash had lost all his money in the game, but Bunny decides to make one final bet with all the cash he has left, and these two unlucky friends lose again. After the game ends, when Bunny is in Avinash's room, Avinash confesses that he had watched all the episodes of Bunny's TV show and that he was only lying. Bunny also talks about Avinash's bar and was willing to give him all his savings to help restart the bar. However, Avinash refuses to take money from Bunny. After this, Bonnie goes to Aditi and asks her why she's marrying Turan if she used to love Avinash. In response, Aditi says, sometimes, we chase the wrong things that don't bring us happiness, and my love for Avinash was just one-sided. But when I met Turan, I realized that I could be happy too. Hearing this, Bonnie also realizes that he has started to love Nina. So, he goes to Nina, but there he sees Nina sitting with a guy named Vikram. Seeing this, Bonnie feels quite jealous and rudely tells Vikram to leave. When Vikram confronts Bonnie, he says, Nina is my girlfriend. Hearing this, Nina is also surprised. At that moment, Nina asks Bonnie the reason behind his behavior. Bonnie explains that he thought Vikram might be her boyfriend. Besides, Bonnie also proposes to Nina and wants to spend his whole life with her. However, Nina knows it's not possible because Bonnie has different priorities, and she is a simple girl who prefers to stay with her parents and has her own clinic. So, Nina tells Bonnie that they should end this relationship right here. Now comes the final day of Bonnie in India, which is Aditi's wedding day. After all the ceremonies are completed on that day, when Turan takes Aditi with him, at this moment, Bonnie picks up his luggage and heads back to Europe. But sitting at the airport, he starts to miss his home, so he quickly returns home, missing his flight. It's then that he begins to remember his father and realizes how much his father loved him. Sitting here, Bonnie realizes that he has exhausted himself running the race of life, he didn't value his time, and his father passed away. So, now he decides to listen to his heart alone. Now, it's New Year's Eve, and everyone is partying. Turan and Aditi are also going on their honeymoon. Meanwhile, Avinash is standing in his bar, telling a few customers that another year is coming to an end, and this bar is also. On the other hand, Nina is sitting alone in her house when the doorbell rings. Bonnie is standing outside, and Nina is quite surprised to see him. Afterward, she asks Bonnie why he cancelled his plan to go to Paris. Bonnie replies that he didn't want to take the risk, who knows, by that time you might have married someone else. With that, Bonnie puts an engagement ring on Nina's finger and proposes to her, which Nina accepts. In the end, she asks Bonnie one last question, are you ready to eat pizza every day until you die? Which means that Nina's statement meant that Bonnie will now have to spend his entire life with her, and Bonnie agrees to it. After that, Bonnie calls Avinash and Nina calls Aditi. Then Bonnie informs both Aditi and Avinash that he will engaged with Nina and will not go back to America again. Then, they all wish each other a happy new year over the phone, and the movie ends with this happy ending. Anyways friends, do let me know in the comments what life lessons you learned from this movie. Don't forget to subscribe.